Writer's block is something that every writer has to deal with, and I've definitely dealt with my fair share. In this video, I want to talk about 5 ways that I break free from writer's block when I'm having that and just having a tough time with writing my story and figuring out what to do with it. Before we continue, my name is Brenden Pugh. This is Writing Quest. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I want to say a huge shout out to our sponsor today for this video, Literature and Latte, and the writing software Scrivener. More on them later. Number 1 is to read your story. This is one that I do a lot of where I get kind of stuck. I don't know where to go. Maybe I've missed or forgotten a story beat that I was wanting to tie to or something. I've found when I go back and reread, now making sure this is very tricky because you got to make sure you don't go back and want to edit things, but going back and rereading your story and the things that you've written for the purpose of re-inspiring you. I've found that when you first start writing, you have a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm, and you love what you're writing and you love the story, and you really set out because you love what this is. But as you get into things, I lose that momentum because I maybe you're getting bogged down with the actual act of writing, with outlining. Maybe you're trying to figure out things like the minutia of it all really can start to bring you down if you're not prepared for it. And so I believe what I've really loved doing is going back and rereading what I've done, and it kind of re-inspires me and re-engages me with why I love the story and why I wanted to tell the story. Number 2 is doing something creative, but in a totally different field. So writing itself, any creative field in general, you can always get burnout. You can always get stuck, or whether you do music or painting or any kind of creative field, you can get stuck in what you're doing. And I like being creative. I like doing other creative things. I like playing music. I like doing all sorts of things, even creating videos. And I found when I get stuck sometimes, I can go to a different creative field and do that for a little while. And it kind of lets my brain work on the writing in the background, and it helps break me free of that. Just having that other creative outlet when you're feeling burnt in the other one. This can really apply to anything with not just writing, but if you're having issues with having a block with any creative field, switching to something else, and hopefully that will engage your brain in a different way and then give you the path forward in your other creative endeavor. Number 3 is setting a time limit. So even if you're stuck, even if you're feeling that writer's block and you can't continue, you don't know what you're going to do, still making sure to sit down and do some writing. Even if you don't actually do any writing, sitting down, set that timer for 15, 20 minutes, even an hour, however long you can, and at least attempt to sit there and do it. I believe that if you set yourself up in this way, and if your body and your brain are used to writing, if you have been doing this a while, if you at least get yourself into the place of writing wherever you do your writing, whether it's in a recliner, at your desk, however you do it, just set a time limit and say, I'm going to sit here for 15, 20 minutes. I bet you will be surprised that ideas will start coming to you. They'll start happening, especially if you go back and combine it with number 1, which is rereading your story. So even if you're not feeling like it, even if you don't know how to continue or you're really blocked, still continuing to sit down and attempt to do the writing, I think is a great way to break you free of your writer's block. We'll get back to the video in a bit, but first I want to talk about Scrivener. Scrivener is an all-in-one writing software that helps you organize, draft, and perfect your stories. Whether you're outlining your plot, developing characters, or compiling your manuscript, Scrivener gives you the freedom to write your way. With great tools like the binder to keep things organized and the corkboard for creating ideas and outlining, it's trusted by best-selling authors around the world. I personally have used it for over a decade now, and it has become an invaluable writing tool for me. Check out Scrivener today by visiting the link in the description where you can get 20% off your purchase by using the code QUEST at checkout. My thanks to Scrivener and Literature and Latte for sponsoring this video. Number 4 is start on the outline for book 2. So this is one that I've done a lot of because my series is getting larger and larger, and it's probably going to end up being way too many books. And when I get stuck on book 1 or I get stuck in another spot, I find that if I jump to another project and start outlining that, it starts giving me ideas for the first one. And so I actually have very sprawling outlines. I have a lot of my first one done and working through that. I've got a lot of the second one put in. And then all of the other books that I'm planning on, I have little scenes and parts of outlines built for those, because when I get stuck in one spot, jumping to those other places and then trying to connect the dots can really unlock that creativity. So if you're not planning a series, then just start in some other book. Maybe having the two projects, similar to having a different creative field to do something in, maybe just having the two projects can help break free. Whenever you get stuck in one, you can go back to the other. Sometimes that's too much for people, but I find that jumping through a different project can really help me break free of what I was doing and make some new creative connections for my story. Number 5 is meditate and exercise. Now, this can look like a lot of different things for a lot of different people, and I'm not suggesting you do anything I'm necessarily saying. What I mean is keeping your mind healthy and keeping your body healthy will help you write and be more creative. Meditating, taking a break. If you're totally exhausted from what you're doing, take a break, step back, but don't just take a break and scroll social media and do all that stuff. That's gonna, I'm fallen in that trap many times and I still struggle with it, but those types of things are gonna continue to zap your creative energy even though they don't feel like it. So actually taking a break, meditating, doing some exercise, whether it's weightlifting, yoga, whatever it is, doing something that re-engages you and gives you energy is what I think is needed to break that writer's block. So again, this can look different for a lot of people. Do whatever you want from that perspective or whatever you like doing. There's not really one way to do it, I believe, but having some form of quiet meditation time and also some exercise, no matter what form that takes, is a great way to break your writer's block. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Writing Quest. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you next time on Writing Quest. Make sure to check out this video right here.